Alright, I'm going to make a short update video on my current project, which is restoring this Razor scooter that I found at the dump. It was all assembled, things were just a little bit rusty, so I took the top off, took these two 14-volt batteries out, tested the electric motor, it runs fine, and then the only thing I had to deal with was this rusty chain. Now I can buy them online for about $5, but just for the sake of trying this out, I'm going to try and derust it using electrolysis. So I looked around for some of my old power supplies, and I have an AC to DC converter from a Linksys router. It outputs 12 volts at 500 milliamps, and when you cut the end off and splice it, you can use a multimeter to figure out which end is the anode and which end is the cathode, the positive and negative terminal. So after I figured that out, I have the positive terminal, the anode, is connected in series through the multimeter, which I'm going to set to 10 amps. That is connected in series with this little S68 auto light bulb that I just took out of the glove box in my car, and that in turn is connected to the anode, which is a piece of graphite that I carefully took out of a pencil. And again, on the negative terminal, the cathode, that's hooked up to the rusty chain that I want to get the rust off of. And in there is some baking soda. It would probably be better to use sodium carbonate, but I only had sodium bicarbonate, and we'll see what happens when we turn this on. See an increase in the current to 250 milliamps. We'll see bubbling off of both the anode and the cathode, and it's that bubbling off the rusty part that is basically going to over time flake off that rust as the iron and the iron oxide species of the rust get reduced back to elemental iron. And I wish my camera had a better zoom, but it doesn't. And you can see the importance of the light bulb here acting as a little resistor limiting the amount of current. And this whole setup was thanks to Mr. Wizard from the Science Madness forums, who helped me a great deal today setting this all up. And I'm actually happy that it works, because I have tons of these power supplies sitting around that do absolutely nothing, and it's good to actually put them to use. So I'm going to shut this off right now and run it tomorrow for a couple hours outside, just so I don't have to worry about some explosion if I go to sleep from the hydrogen and oxygen, and we'll see what it looks like. So I moved the solution outside into an old cast iron pan I found. That allows for a larger anode surface area, so more current can flow. As you can see, the current's up to 350 milliamps now. The light bulb's a little brighter than it was before. And the paper, or the dish towel, is there just to make sure that the two electrodes don't touch, but still allows current to flow. And the fan's on, so it just pushes the gases outside. So it definitely looks like it'll take a long time. Probably cheaper to just buy the chain new for $10, but we'll see. Alright, so this is about an hour and a half later. You can see, I don't know if you can see, but a lot of the part of the cathode that has been derusted is black down here. There's a little bit of brown rust up there, so I'm just moving the cathode around the chain as it goes, and it's still drawing about 340 milliamps. This light bulb's working perfectly at keeping the load just under the 500 milliamp max that this power supply can output. So make another video after another hour or two, scrub it off and clean it and see if it actually... So here's the final product after about 4 hours or so of electrolysis. My camera can't focus in too well, but all the brown rust is gone. It's actually a lot of silver in some places, and I basically just scrubbed this with some steel wool and made sure all the links bend and run. None of them are really stock. If they are, just put some WD-40, get a pair of needle nose pliers, and you can kind of ply them apart. So now that the chain's done, the next step is to just find a charger with the right voltage to charge the batteries, put it back together, and see if the dump scooter actually works.